So it's been a tough week. It's been hard to find too much to laugh about in the news, and Vox Day came through with a good one here. Swabbed. Chinese government anally swabs U.S. diplomats. Biden State Department begs them to stop. The Chinese government originally claimed that the anal swab COVID test was applied, quote, in error, before disregarding U.S. protests about the dignity of the State Department officials. So, in error. Yeah, we hear that a lot from big governments, that in authoritarians that make mistakes. Whoops, just an error. Just a simple error. We had them bend over. And as for the dignity of the state, this is the problem when there's a constitutional republic, and when that is not treated with dignity at home, don't expect it to be treated with dignity abroad. So the Chinese government forcibly anally swabbed U.S. diplomatic officials as part of the Chinese Communist Party's new COVID testing protocols. All right, let's get some more communism, right? No thanks. It prompted Joe Biden to beg China to stop. Yep. Vice and the Washington Post were among the first outlets to report the story, in which China originally promised to stop anally swabbing department officials after complaints, but has now reversed course. The State Department never agreed to this kind of testing and protested directly to the Minister of Foreign Affairs when we learned that some staff members were subject to it. We have instructed staff to decline this test if it is asked of them, as was done in the past. The Chinese government responded with official Zhao Lijian, or whatever, later claiming China has never requested that we undergo anal swabs, so maybe they volunteered. You never know with this diversity department we've got going on. Maybe they had more than one. Or maybe they thought they were agreeing to something else. Their Chinese may not be that good. Who knows? Hilarious. Now, something else talking about disrespect. Kamala Harris wasn't informed of the Syria bombing before it happened. That's right. You become you're very well looking at who may be the president in very short order. But if you don't live in a meritocracy and you're just the diversity candidate that gets there because diversity, don't expect to get any respect at all. Especially in things that actually matter, where the rubber meets the road. Like, in corporations where you have not very important jobs, you can pay a lot of service to this sort of thing. But in the real world, not so much. So Kamala Harris was not informed prior to the Syrian bombing and is very upset about being left out of the loop per a White House official. And Donald Trump Jr. Comes up with the first question that popped in my head: was Joe Biden informed? And, it's like, this is the deep state. This is what Trump was talking about. And this is why they wanted to get rid of Trump, because he was the anti-war candidate. He was the candidate of peace. Made peace with North Korea. How? By talking, by negotiation. Oh, it looks strange to me, though, and made me upset. Well, it sure was a lot better than vaporizing 22 people, right? If you're not smart enough to know what a high-level negotiation looks like, well, maybe you should just stick to League of Legends. But it's like this apparatus. They used her as a puppet. She's the puppet. She's the face to, I guess, the urban market, and they have no respect for her at all. Like, that is a diss. She is the vice president, and they're not even going to bother to inform her. They're just going ahead and doing what they want. They, in the Biden administration, I did videos on this, is packed to the gills with Bushites, Obamites, John McCain staffers. It's like a warmonger buffet that piled into Biden's cabinet. And so this should be no surprise if me sitting in my room in the middle of the woods knows that America was going to bomb Syria. I don't know why she didn't know. But, we see America's back. All right. Biden is third successive president to bomb Syria, estimated 22 killed. And the reason is a gas pipeline. Like, they'll shut them down in America because, but they really, really, really want that pipeline in Syria. So, after 4-year hiatus, America's military machine is back. Which shouldn't be a surprise. This should not be a surprise. It's funny to see, look at the hypocrisy. Jen Psaki, also, what is the legal authority for strikes? Assad is a brutal dictator, but Syria is a sovereign country. Glenn Greenwald says, someone should ask the press secretary her own question verbatim about Biden's Syria bombing tomorrow. And the context of her tweet was Trump's bombing of Syrian forces. The question still applies. And I remember Trump's base clapped back real hard. We don't want any bombing. I think there was one casualty, if I remember correctly. And, it was like, no, man, we brought you in to drain the swamp, not to do more of this neocon, neoliberal garbage. But it's back on regime change. How has that worked out? Terribly. They always think that they can establish what I call their dominion. You get a democracy in, and then you get these voting machines that can flip votes at will. And they think that somehow that's going to bring peace and stability and, influence of these very same people, right? The very same people that used dominion in our most recent election. It's funny to see the liberals talk about Sengunger. So at Joe Biden bombs Syria and kills the minimum wage hike, confirming every fear progressives had. Soon they'll renege on getting $2,000 checks to everyone in the middle class by limiting who gets it. The establishment is back, and it absolutely sucks. Well, Sank, I seem to remember you having a mini meltdown like an hour into November 3rd because you thought that Trump was going to win. You get a third-party candidate that gets and wins on a major party ticket. You don't get the perfect guy. You get the peace guy or you get the war guy. Hillary was the goddess of war, according to the Green Party. All they did with Joe Biden was switch out Hillary for Biden, a slightly less contemptible human being, but not even by much. We didn't flip, look at this guy, Jamal Green. We didn't flip Georgia blue for Biden to strike Syria. We flipped Georgia blue for our $2,000 stimulus checks. Dude, just get a job. $2,000 isn't that much money. Just work. I don't get it. And for the $15 minimum wage, you might want to deal with inflation first and start reading up on sound currency and $50,000 of student loan debt to be canceled. I don't know if you saw Biden break that little girl's heart when he told her, I'm not going to do that. But that was pretty hilarious. It's funny to see the idealism crash into the mountain yet again, but this should be no surprise to anyone that's paying any attention at all. Expect more humiliation. Expect the Biden and Kamala, expect them to be ignored now. The swamp has the reins. And this is, study your Machiavelli, right? We're narrating The Prince. When the nobility raises one of their own, when you come to power through your connections with the nobility, you have no respect. Because everyone thinks that they're your equal. Kamala Harris is not regarded highly by the people that put her into this position because they see her as their equal or even her as a lesser. So it's a lesson in political philosophy there. They'll put your face on calendars and someone will write a book for you. I don't know what else to tell you. Looks like her makeup is making her skin darker. Is that just me? I don't know. Who cares? Hilarious. Anyway, if you're a diplomat in the United States, I don't think I'd go there. I mean, unless that's your thing.